Did you just imply that you weren't going to protect people who are political opponents of the mayor? Chief, did you just imply...
I don't want to talk to you, so you got to leave me alone. I'm going to charge you with harassment.
Lamarque's new police chief had just done the indefensible, warning that his officers would remember the residents who don't support the mayor.
If you support those people, they have told me they're not going to ally with you, your family, or your businesses.
90,000 people reacted on our Facebook page. You work for the people, not the other way around, one wrote. This guy is a train wreck. One of our viewers made a good point, quoting, "You think the city would have vetted him?" In fact, Aragon had been chief in Lamarque before, and he's had a lot of employment trouble since then. He was terminated from his last job in Truth or Consequences, New Mexico, after a complaint from a female employee. So he went on Facebook a few days ago to try to clean up his newest mess.
That spin that we're not going to provide services to those that don't ally with us is totally incorrect.
Really, Chief? We had it on video.
You need to jump aboard and support your police department and not talk bad about us, because we're the only game in town.
To show he would protect the mayor's political opponents, the chief sent a slew of police officers when a small group of protesters staged a rally outside the house of a guy the chief really thinks is one of those local terrorists.
We had 5 officers on the perimeter of that person's house on Cedar Drive to keep that house safe. So therefore, we were providing services to people that talk bad about our department.
How gracious of the police chief to protect all people equally this time. There were more cops than protesters, but a good prop for the police chief.
Just get as close to the house as we can.
The Black Lives Matter signs waved across the street from Joseph Lowry's house. He's the guy leading the call for a tax rollback election in Lamarque because of all the spending. And he's been part of the social media war in that town too. Clearly no fan of Mayor Keith Bell, who, as you can see, is black.
Individuals who have been victimized, who have been terrorized by this individual, are either black or Hispanic.
The friends of a woman named Mandolin Salazar had staged this protest, and from the looks of things, she doesn't have too many friends. But at a secret site later, the NAACP boss from Brazoria County weighed in on a fight in a Galveston County city. I haven't taken a recent survey on the mark of who's racist and who's not, but the new mayor was elected with 90% of the vote. And I bet those protesters, they haven't seen the pictures and videos we have. Remember the freeze last February? Joe Lowry cooked hundreds of hot dogs for the community.
My name is Keith Bell. I'm the mayor of the city of Lamarque.
And Mayor Keith Bell was there to shower praise on the guy who was dubbed the kindness ambassador. Yep, right before he became a terrorist.
He's definitely doing great work here in Lamarque. So we want to thank him for all he's done. We want to make sure that he remains a part of our community because he's an asset.
Folks in Lamarque listening to all this race talk might be shocked to know that Joe Lowry was actually a big supporter of Keith Bell's, and he knew he was black.
Officially, landslide. Celebrate safely. Amen.
Who did the mayor celebrate with on election victory night last year? Wait for it, Joe Lowry.
Facebook Live, yeah, baby.
Here are the pictures from the limousine the mayor's family rode in that night, courtesy Lowry's Concrete Company, and the champagne was flowing.
Congratulations, Mayor Bell. Thank you.
You will find reimbursement for the refreshments that night on Keith Bell's campaign report.
You know that I filed my report, and you can see my report.
You filed a report after we busted you.
You can see, well, I wasn't busted.
Well, actually, he was. Keith Bell didn't file his first campaign contribution report in the mayor's race that he won in May until December 3rd, 2021. That was 4 days after we went public on Facebook with the news that Bell had broken campaign finance laws. We had sent Bell an email a week before asking why. Bell ignored it, so we went to Lamarque to say hi. Who told you that your campaign reports were wrong?
Like I said, I love you, Mr. Delfino. I'm not going to answer any of your questions.
We like to be loved, but we prefer that public officials just follow the law because it's pretty simple. On January 13th last year, Bell had promised Lamarque residents he wouldn't accept more than $930 in campaign donations. He's a veteran politician and knows that lets you skip any more reporting until after the election is over. There's his signature, promising if he got more money, he would be required to file reports before the election. He did get more. About 2 weeks later, in fact, his first $1,000 contribution, the owner of the fish place on Texas Avenue. Bell had already broken his promise.
Facebook Live, Facebook Live.
It was campaign contributions during the Bell campaign that eventually turned Joseph Lowery against the guy he was rubbing shoulders with just months before.
The man is a liar. I'll say that. He's a liar. He's shady and he's corrupt.
One of the things that turned Lowery against Bell was a campaign contribution that Marque voters didn't know about during the campaign, because Bell ignored his promise to voters.
He took a $4,500 campaign donation from a very large contractor in our city, or that wants to build in our city. In exchange, Bell said he would make council vote in favor of what that developer wanted.
Lowery was a little off on the numbers. It was actually a $4,000 check from a developer hoping the new mayor would waive hundreds of thousands of dollars in impact fees for his development. That deal didn't happen. Maybe it's good government, maybe it's Joe Lowery's post, or maybe our effort to get the mayor to disclose his campaign contributions.
Now, you know I'm not going to answer any questions, right?
You've talked for 4 hours and you won't talk to me about transparency?
Now, the other thing about this council and this government is that we're transparent and we're open. That's how we want to provide transparency in government. We're transparent because there's nothing to hide, and proceed in a very, very transparent way.
See what I mean? So we tried to call the mayor's campaign treasurer, Tamara Smith, but after cutting off one call, she's never called us back.
The mailbox is full and cannot accept any messages at this time. Goodbye.
The other biggest donor was the mayor pro tem in League City. Of course, the plumbers union threw in $500, and the folks who collect your taxes, well, they usually pitch in too. Maybe you're saying a few $1,000 can't possibly explain how this political friendship went so awry. The Galveston Daily News certainly bought the mayor's explanation. Campaign staff members didn't know they needed to file the campaign document. Quote, "It was a harmless oversight," Bell said. So we thought he would thank us for reminding him. Why didn't the Galveston Daily News ever look to see the campaign donations Bell actually hid? Election law aside, Bell won in a landslide. But Lowery says the big straw that really broke this friendship?
He was asking myself and Sarah to set up business accounts in his wife's name and his daughter's name. I thought that was kind of odd. He wanted me to set up construction businesses so he could go after bond money in the city of Marque.
The Galveston Daily News helped Bell challenge allegations of misconduct on the front page of the paper, including the accusations that Bell's wife may have misused federal PPP money at her Castle Child Care Daycare Center.
Let's talk about the payroll protection plan that his wife filed.
The Daily News didn't show their readers the government records Lowery found, even though they're smack dab on the internet at federalpay.org. But we'll show you. You can check out my company's loans too. The daycare center got 2 PPP loans, totaling $271,000. But we focused on the second loan, which estimates the daycare center had a payroll of $700,000 and was keeping 53 jobs.
What daycare has 53 employees?
It must have been real crowded in that daycare center. All those kids, 53 employees, in just half that building. So we made a call to the old daycare center the other night and asked. It didn't go well.
That's really none of your business, though, to be honest with you.
We'll let the feds figure that one out. We can't wait to return to the Marque City Council meetings so we can teach Chief Aragon a little bit about Texas law.
I don't want to talk to you, so you got to leave me alone. I'm going to charge you with harassment.
I'm not going to answer any of your questions.
You want to charge me with harassment for asking you a question?
I don't want to answer you.
Who was your biggest contributor?
I'm not going to answer any of your questions, Mr. Deltafino.
A lot of folks don't want to talk to me. That's okay. But Joe Lowery, well, he's now laid down a challenge for Mayor Bell.
If anybody wants to put me on a lie detector, I'll pay for it myself, set it up. Bell can do it too.
While we wait for the results, Marque voters have a serious right to decide whether their taxes are too high, without calling people terrorists or racists anymore. 18,000 people live in this Galveston County town. Less than 1,000 voted in the mayor's race. Mayor Bell should remember that.